You're listening to the Uplevel Your Online Business Show, where wealth is empowering, purpose is crucial, and high vibes are non-negotiable. And now, here's your host, certified business coach and practical woo strategist, Sarah J. Loureiro.
Hey beauty, did you know that I just opened up some spots to work with me one-on-one? As an exclusive one-on-one business coaching client, you will get access to pretty much everything that I release this calendar year. So including my mastermind, including the amazing fully booked formula. If this is your year to finally up-level your business to the income and impact that really pushes you beyond your wildest dreams, we need to talk. You can book a free call with me to see if you're a good fit from the link bit.ly//let's talk success. That's uppercase L, uppercase T, uppercase S. Or you can head over to my website at sarahjloureiro.com/workwithsarah to find out more.
Welcome back to another episode of the Uplevel Your Online Business Show. I am super excited to be here today and to talk to you about exactly how I was able to basically almost create the exact same income that I created in all of 2019 in the first 6 months of 2020, more specifically in the 3 months of Q2 of 2020, when we were in the middle of a global pandemic and a recession. And one of the reasons why I really wanted to do this podcast episode, and I actually had another topic that was like on my schedule to do, and I was like, no, I need to talk about this, is because what I'm about to talk to you about is actually kind of a little bit unconventional. It's unconventional in terms of what I have learned from a lot of my previous business coaches. It's unconventional in terms of a lot of what is going on in the female coaching industry, some things that I don't really agree with, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. I think anyone who's a doer and who's like really into strategy and someone who's a high performer is really going to resonate with what I'm about to talk about. So if that sounds like you, which is usually my people, my clients, then listen on, because I feel like this is going to be like really big for you in terms of how much you resonate. Okay, so I made $110,000 cash in the first 6 months of 2020. It's crazy. It's awesome. I'm not going to sit here and say, like, oh, I totally wasn't expecting this, or, like it just kind of came out of nowhere, because no, I really had these goals in place. And I always have goals in my business. I always teach my clients to have really amazing goals in their businesses. But the way that it happened was not the way that I expected it to happen at all. In fact, I'm pretty sure that I had an entire business model kind of just worked out in the beginning of 2020, and I completely ditched that business model probably in around March, probably actually once things started to really pick up in terms of social distancing and things like that. So I wanted to kind of talk to you about how I came across everything that kind of just allowed me to get here. If I had continued with the business model that I thought that I was going to do in the beginning of 2020, I would probably have been struggling right now. And the reason why is because the business model that I was thinking about doing was just particularly super exhausting. In fact, I still brought in elements of it throughout the entire 6 months that I'm really excited about Q3 and Q4 for, because I'm going to be teaching my clients a lot of the things that I learned about this. But it was a continuous launch model, really stressful. I followed a few online quote unquote gurus who I really just no longer resonate with. And they were just really hustle, lower cost systems, create these like massive sales systems only with the lower cost offers, and just kind of continuously do that. And I was like, cool, amazing. Let me try this out. Always wanted to have lower cost offers, and I don't regret doing it, because I think I learned a lot from it, but it's definitely not the model for me. It totally ended up getting me really overwhelmed. And it basically deterred me from doing the things that always really worked really well in my business. So I stopped signing on high-end clients. I stopped seeing the amazing breakthroughs in my one-to-one clients because I stopped getting as many one-to-one clients. And so I didn't have all of the coaching that I usually have in my business and in my business model. And I really, really missed it. I really missed the one-to-one aspect when I was scaling with lower cost offers and self-guided programs. And so that's first and foremost. I am such a firm believer that one-to-one programs and one-to-one and group coaching combination programs are really the best thing that we can possibly do, both for our businesses and for our clients and our communities, because that's when you see the biggest breakthroughs. That's when you have the biggest life-changing events for your clients. And that's ultimately what's going to produce the best results. And ultimately from those results is going to help you grow more and more and more because you're going to become more of an expert in that field. So I was really missing that. And I remember in January of 2020, I was running on the beach. So my family came by to Nicaragua and I took a full week off. I barely had Wi-Fi, which I was not expecting. But I barely had Wi-Fi. I was going for 6 a.m. runs on the beach every morning. It was beautiful. It was so, so inspiring. And I just remember that specific point in time, looking towards signing up with a new mentor. I was kind of just messaging them back and forth on Instagram when, like I barely even had Wi-Fi, I barely even had data. So, and just really just getting a feel for where it was that I wanted to take my business. And I was there and I knew that I was in the middle of a really, really big shift and I didn't quite understand it until the past few weeks. And so, and I'm doing this episode right before the beginning of Q3 of the year. So I'm doing this right at the end of June. And it took me from the end of January, understanding that I was about to do a big shift, to now the end of June, understanding what that big shift was exactly. And so it took me a really long time to kind of just realize that the model that I was thinking of and the model that so many people were touting just wasn't for me. And I love being vulnerable on this show. I love being vulnerable with you guys. And I love telling you exactly what was working, what didn't work. And, like where I had my own flaws and where I had my own vulnerabilities, because I really do believe that makes me much more effective as a coach. And I feel like that just really, really increases my integrity. And so I really hope that you feel that as well as I talk about this. But I went through this model. It wasn't my model, yet I continued to kind of push through because I'm the type of person who needs to finish what I start. And so I really, really wanted to finish it. I wanted to kind of fix the holes, fix the mistakes in it. And I ended up investing in really like a very, very small coaching program because I was looking for answers in this, and it ended up being just like not a good fit. The person who I signed up with, I mean, she was amazing as a human being, but in terms of coaching, that's just definitely not the type of person who I'd ever invest in again. And for a few different reasons. I think quality is one of the reasons, but also just the model. And I really do think that business models help so much for us to understand what it is that we want to do, how you want to design your business and how you want to design your life, so that you're not overworking yourself, so that you're not just like putting in way too many hours doing things that are just, costing you so much more in terms of your time and effort, versus doing a few things and really simplifying those few things and having those few things work. And after I kind of did all of that in the beginning of the year and didn't really see a huge increase in my income. In fact, I saw a decrease in my income, to be completely honest. And I also saw, although I was, doing so much passive income and, selling so many things, I saw a huge decrease in the amount of messages that I was getting from clients, right? The amount of messages that I was getting from, oh, you helped me so much with XYZ. I get messages like, oh my goodness, this program is amazing and I love it. And it helped me do this, but I didn't have those real intimate connections that I've always had with one-to-one and group coaching. And so one of the biggest things that I had to really do to be able to make, $110,000 cash in 6 months, and more specifically in 3 months almost, was to think outside the box. And so at that point in time, I was kind of like, okay, where do I see myself going? What am I tuning into? What feels good in my gut right now, right? Like, what feels good in my gut? Do I want to continue with all of these launches? Do I want to pivot? What am I doing? And I ended up slightly tweaking everything that I was doing. I invested in a new mentor that was a little bit more unconventional. They definitely weren't the type of mentors that I was very used to in terms of the female business coaching field, which is very much like feeling, like get more spirituality in it. Everything's about your mindset. They were very strategically focused, but they also had a spiritual aspect to everything that they were doing, which is why I really resonated with them as well. And immediately after I did that and after I made that investment, and it's really interesting because I made that investment without necessarily having all of the money in my bank account to make sure that I was going to fulfill all of my payments. I just knew in my gut that I needed to do this. And I think it's really important for me to note this because a lot of people think, okay, well, the only people who invest in their businesses are people who just have all the money just to kind of sign up straight away. And that couldn't be further from the truth. The people who invest in their businesses and the people who see really, really big success in their businesses are oftentimes the people who don't necessarily have the money in their bank accounts, but are really committed to and know that their success is inevitable. And that's the exact point that I was at. And I think I tripled that investment. I tripled that ROI within like the first month of working with this new team. And one of the biggest things that I really had to get over in terms of thinking outside the box is I had to get over what a lot of people in the female business coaching field just kind of talk about in terms of like, everything is about your energy. Everything is about, what you're attracting. Everything is about mindset. And I couldn't disagree more. And the reason why I'm going to say that and I'm going to throw that out there is because I think that for us doers, and for high achievers and for high performers, we often look at that and we say, okay, well, crap, there's totally something wrong with my energy now. Now I need to fix it. I need to fix my energy. I need to fix my mindset. And oftentimes, it is a strategic tweak that you need to be doing in your business that makes all the difference. Of course, the energy work is so important. The mindset work is so important. And I'm never going to deny that. And I think it's such a big pillar. But if we completely let go of the strategy, and if we just tell people, if I just continue to tell people that it's all about your energy, I feel like I'm being really irresponsible as a business coach, because I know that sometimes it's literally a different strategy, a tweak in your messaging that's going to make all the difference. Of course, here's the caveat, which becomes really interesting, is in order for us to sometimes do that tweak in our messaging, or to have a tweak in our strategy, or to try a different strategy, requires a different mindset. So mindset and energy is always going to come back into it. But I think one big thing that I realized is that I don't really subscribe to the everything is mindset, because I've seen clients come to me who have told me, well, my previous coach just told me everything is mindset, but I've come around and I don't have any results. And one of the reasons why they don't have any results is because they're not implementing effective strategies. They're not implementing different strategies. They're not implementing strategies that feel really aligned to them. And if your coach is always going to tell you that everything that's wrong is always about your energy, it creates this feeling inside of you that there's something wrong with you. And that is something that I don't really appreciate that's going on in our industry right now. And that's something that I really want to start to shift and start to change. It's this whole excuse of, well, it's all about your mindset. If you didn't do the launch that you wanted, it's about your mindset. If you didn't have, you didn't sign up the clients that you wanted to, it's all about your energy and your mindset. Sometimes it's actually about your strategy, and it's about working with a coach and working with a mentor who really understands the strategies that you need to implement in your business to see the best results. So throwing that out there as well, because I think it's really, really important to talk about. And I really had to think outside of the box, and I really just had to let go of, a lot of the things that we talk about in the industry that help you to see results. And once I did that, the second thing that I really needed to get over was a fear of being disliked. And I think this is kind of something that I have dealt with forever. You know, I've been a people pleaser. I am a people pleaser. I love people. I'm an ENFJ. I'm an extrovert. I love bringing people together. I don't like it when people don't like me, right? Let's be honest. I'm pretty sure every single client of mine that I've ever had would agree. We just don't like it. You don't like it when people don't like you. You don't like it when people don't like your marketing message. You don't like it when people don't like your strategy. You don't like it when people think that you are spammy or sleazy or whatever it is. And in order for me to really and fully implement new strategies in my business that were working really, really well, that ended up working so much more efficiently than any other strategy that I've ever done in my business, I had to get over the fear of being disliked. And once I did, and it was a gradual process, once I did, I literally started working I started noticing that about 20% of what I was doing in my business was producing 80% of the results. And it's something that I've definitely been helping my clients with in terms of simplifying and focusing on the things that are actually worthwhile. And that's when things just really started to shift. And I started just, signing on a crazy amount of clients, and amazing clients that were paying me in full my highest rates, clients who were doing the work, clients who, after 2 weeks of working together, they'd come back to me, they'd be like, I just signed on, X amount of clients. And it was really incredible to see that and to see such an incredible shift from, in the beginning of the year, feeling really out of alignment with everything that I was doing and feeling like everything felt so hard and so exhausting, to then shifting, really getting through a lot of mindset blocks that I had, hiring new mentors, and seeing that, just a little bit of effort was producing substantial results for me. And I also started reading The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. If you've never read that book, and if you are a fan, or if you really desire a lot more efficiency and simplicity in your business, I highly recommend that you get that book. It's incredible. But one thing that really stuck out to me about what he was saying was that oftentimes, especially for high performers and high achievers, we spend so much time trying to better ourselves in our weaknesses. So better our weaknesses, right? Like focusing on our weaknesses, focusing on the things that we can do better, focusing on the gaps that we have. Whereas it's so much more effective and so much more efficient, especially in our businesses, to focus on our strengths, to focus on what is working, to start building off of what is working, rather than just constantly trying to hone in on our mistakes, constantly trying to hone in on fixing, the need to fix ourselves. And that really hit home for me. That really hit home when I started to understand that that's what I was doing for so long. I was trying to fix the different areas of my business that I thought needed to be fixed, even though I was doing really well. And when I stopped doing that, and when I really just started to truly adopt the mindset of the less I work, the more I make, that literally started happening. The less I worked, the more I made. And it's been true, and it's been more true and more so, and it's only building. And I can't wait to kind of just get on a next podcast episode where I talk about this even more, because I think it's so effective. And so I also hired more team, but not in the way that you'd think. So it's not like I was spending a lot more money hiring a huge team to help me to get to 6 figures or over 6 figures cash in 6 months. In fact, I actually fired some team members to get here, and I hired more sophisticated team. I hired team members that were really knew what they were doing from the get-go, and were going to help me to get an ROI from them that much quicker. And so that's another thing that I did that was really another money mindset shift that I needed to make for myself, where I started hiring experts to do the things that I could do, but I just wasn't as efficient at them as they were. And so when I started doing that, once again, it was the less I work, the more I make. And that was especially true for quarter 2. of 2020. And I mean, if you're listening to this and if you've kind of always wanted to hit these numbers, mindset is such an important aspect of being able to change your strategy. And so strategy is there. Strategy is so important. If anyone ever tells you that strategy is not important for you to make six figures and multiple six figures, run away. Because chances are they probably are not an expert at what they're saying that they're an expert at. And you want to make sure that you know, or you're working with someone who knows your niche, who knows how to niche, who knows how to really get you into advanced growth strategies, outsourcing and hiring if you're trying to achieve multiple six figures, definitely. But ultimately, you want to be working smarter and not harder, and really just working smarter in terms of the strategies that work for you and the strategies that feel most aligned to you. And so that's something that I really had to do. I had to get over my fear of being disliked, try new strategies that kind of scared me, but that ended up being really, really, really effective for the amount of time that I was spending on them. And then the last thing that I kind of wanted to talk about in terms of how I was able to do this was new mentorship. And what I mean by that is oftentimes I think that a lot of us tend to prescribe to a certain bubble of what we should be doing, of the people who we should be following, of the way that we should be doing business because of what other people think is correct, what other people are saying that is, the best way to work with authenticity or with alignment and things like that. And while I'm all about all of those things, I think that one of the biggest shifts that really, really helped me, and I think that's going to only help me more and help my clients more, because the more I work with mentors, the more I can then give that information to my clients, which is why I'm constantly investing in my own business, is that when you invest in new mentors and when you start to see new perspectives, you can really, really shift things for yourself very quickly. And especially if you're struggling, especially if you're not in the place that you want to be, especially if you have hired a mentor in the past and you didn't really get the results that you really wanted to see. Investing in new mentors, in people who might be a little bit more outside of your comfort zone in terms of cost and in terms of, the strategic things that they do, can really go a long way. And the reason why I say this is because, once again, I feel like a lot of female coaches exist in this female coaching bubble where everyone's just kind of saying the exact same thing. And so everyone's implementing the exact same thing. And it's almost this bubble where if you're not getting results from that one specific strategy that everyone is teaching and that one specific mindset strategy that everyone's teaching, that there's somehow something wrong with you. And it's really easy to get stuck in that trap of there's something wrong with me because this needs to be working for me, because these people told me that this needs to be working for me. And I really just encourage you to kind of think outside of that box. Think outside of the box of, what you or what people have told you is the right way to do things, or what other people have told you that, is the reason that they've done really, really well. And just start really leaning into your intuition and leaning into your gut, and ask yourself what your gut is telling you, right? Is your gut telling you that you want to seek other opinions, that that there's something else out there, right? Because oftentimes it's not your fault, right? Oftentimes, it's just a really shitty experience that you have with a particular mentor. It's a lack of knowledge on their part a lot of the times, to be completely honest. And I think that when you can really think outside of that box and really invest in people that not only you resonate with, but people who really know what they're talking about and people who have those proven results, I think I really do feel like it needs to be both. It needs to be proven results, but it also needs to be proven results in an area that you feel really, really passionate about, or that feels really good in your gut. So a business model that feels really good to you. Don't just go after business models just because XYZ person said that they made $500,000 off of it if it doesn't feel like it's going to be a really awesome business model for you. Or if you implement the business model and then you quickly understand that it's just really, really overwhelming for you. It's totally okay for you to quit that and try something that feels a lot more aligned. And I think that that's another thing that us high performers tend to do is we tend to feel like it's our fault, and we tend to feel like we need to continue with the thing that we are struggling with and continue with this thing that just doesn't feel good and just doesn't feel aligned because we need to see it through. And I think that a really effective mentor and a really, really effective coach will help you to decipher whether you need to push through it or whether you just need to abandon that business model and do something that works so much better for you. And that's ultimately what I did. I'm really excited about how all of these new business decisions have helped me now create new strategies for my clients that are helping them see results that much quicker, that are helping, me have more time with my family, for example, and, have more money that I can put into my home and put into traveling that I wouldn't have had I just kind of stayed stuck in the same place, really frustrated with what I was doing in the beginning of the year. So I hope that this is really inspiring for you, because it wasn't like I just hit the ground running right in the beginning of the year and had these results relatively quickly, relatively early. It was a process of me just kind of being okay with things not working out the way I thought they would, but kind of coming, 6 months later and understanding that they were going to work anyways. They were going to work regardless, because I set out and I believed that they were going to work and things were going to happen, just not always in the way that I had planned. So always let go of the how and just focus on your why and focus on the impact that you're creating. And really, all of these things will start to come up for you. They'll start to come up in your life just the same way that they came up for me when I was running on the beach. And you'll find that it might not be the way that you thought you were going to get there, but you're going to get there as long as you keep on putting that perseverance in it. So thank you so much for listening today. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to give it a thumbs up or write a review on iTunes. You can share it all over social media. And if you really enjoyed this message or this episode and you wanted to get in touch with me, feel free to DM me on Instagram. It's at Sarah without an H, J, Loureiro, Loureiro. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you next time.
Hey, did you like or love this episode? If so, I would so appreciate it if you left a review and rated this episode on iTunes. It would literally mean so much to me. And if you have Instagram and are all up in your Instagram stories like I am, I would love it if you would share this episode with your beautiful followers so they can also get all of the high vibes, all of the free information that I'm giving you here. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to the Uplevel Your Online Business Show. If you enjoy our show and would like the show notes and free goodies about how to grow your online coaching business, head over to sarahjloureiro.com for more information. We hope you'll tune in next time.